What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Coach Magali if this is your first time here. So today I'm going to go over exactly how to do the barbell back squat with perfect form so that you don't get hurt, you get the most out of the exercise, and you finally feel like a pro at the gym and feel like you know what you're doing. So follow along with me, rewatch this as many times as you need to. I'll put timestamps below for you to reference. Let me know your comments down below. Let me know what you think of this video. If you want me to do more exercises, let me know which ones in the comments below. Do subscribe for more videos like this, all of that good stuff, and let's just get right into the tutorial how to barbell back squat. Usually your gym will have some sort of squat rack. It might look a little bit different, but the components are pretty similar across the board. No matter which machine or equipment you have, you should be able to do this and should be able to set it up the same way. Firstly, we have the J-cups, which is where the barbell is held, and then we have safeties. If you don't have safeties, that's okay. The safeties are there for protection in case you need to fail the squat. It doesn't crush you, you don't fall. If you're starting light, it shouldn't be an issue, but over time, as you get stronger, as you perfect your form and you put more weight on the bar, having some sort of safety net is going to be important and necessary. So just something to keep in mind. I'll show you how to set up both. If you just have the J-cups, then of course just use the J-cup advice. Where you want the J-cups to be relative to you is when you stand next to them, you want it to be just about mid-shoulder height. So obviously somebody taller is going to be much higher, somebody shorter is going to be a little bit lower. And then you want to make sure both of them match across the board. If the bar is crooked, that's a problem. So just make sure both J-cups reach the same height, mid-shoulder level. The safeties, where you want the safeties to be is just about 2 to 3 inches below your lowest point. If you're too low, then they're useless, right? They're not going to help you. If they're too high, it's going to stop you from completing the squat with good form, meaning you won't be able to go all the way down. Let me show you relative to me where they should be. So the lowest point in my squat is right about here, which is about here. This is where the bar would be resting. So I want the safeties just about here. So I would bring the safeties maybe up about an inch or two, maybe 2 or 3 notches up. Again, you don't want it too low because then it's useless. You won't be able to reach it, and you don't want it too high because it's going to get in the way of your squat. So let's get all these safeties and everything in order, and I'll put the bar on. So now I brought the safeties up a little bit, and it's about mid-thigh level. So that may be a good way for you to gauge height if you're not sure where your lowest point is. So now if I were to demonstrate my squat, I would end right about here. So yep, it's just below that lowest point. It's the perfect height away from me. So another thing really quick before you actually get to squatting, squishy running shoes such as these Nikes are not ideal for squatting. The reason is there's a cushion between you and the floor. It's very hard for your foot to be super stable. Think about it. If you stand on something cushiony, you're gonna wobble a little bit. So with the squat, you wanna be as close to the floor as possible. So you can either use a heel elevated shoe for squats such as these, which are more expensive. They're worth the investment in my opinion. My knees love them. But as long as you have a flat-toed shoe such as Converse, Vans, you can even do it barefoot, that's gonna work as well. But try not to squat with squishy shoes such as running shoes or anything that has a lot of cushion because it's gonna be a little bit harder to maintain stability. Squat shoes, flat shoes, or no shoes. I don't recommend a barbell pad to put on the bar because it's going to create a lot more instability in that bar, and you're not going to be able to secure it with your upper back muscles. It could slip, the pad could come off mid-set. It's just not a good way to learn to squat, especially as you get stronger. So practice without the barbell pad, even if it is a little bit uncomfortable at first. You may even get a little bit of bruising if you're super sensitive and bruise easily. It happens a lot with hip thrusts. When people first start to learn how to hip thrust, they get bruises here. I know I did, but over time, as I did it more and more often, my body got used. I no longer experienced any discomfort or any bruising. So similar concept with the squat. Don't put the barbell pad. It's just a bad training habit to have in general. So before I'm even ready to lift the bar, I want to make sure the barbell is centered over the squat rack. The way that I like to measure that is I put my fingers in between the J-cup and the bar, and I measure on each side, making sure they match. So right now it's 2 fingers. Right here, it's a little bit less than 2. So I got to scoot it a little bit more that way to center the bar. Then I'm going to get myself in the center, put my hands equal distance from the center on each side, as wide or as narrow as you want. There's no like right way to do it. It's whatever's comfortable for you. I like mine slightly wider than shoulder width. That's how I personally prefer it. Then I'm going to get myself underneath the bar, make sure I'm in the center, my hands are centered, and then I'm ready to get into position for the squat. So your starting position what you want to do is bring your feet to be directly underneath the bar. If they're too far back, when you go to lift the bar, you're going to be really forward, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on that lower back. And if you're way too forward, you're going to go backwards, right? So the way that you balance that out is you put your feet shoulder width apart, directly underneath the bar. Your hips, if they're too forward, same thing, you're going to fall back. Bring your hips back slightly so they're behind your feet, behind the bar, and then your chest is facing up. From here, now we can stand pretty stable. Once we're standing, it's going to feel a little wobbly. So you want to take a second to control that bar. From here, you have 3 steps to work with. I don't want to see salsa dancing going backwards. This is a big mistake that people make, is that once they stand up, they start rushing, walking way further back than they need to, taking more steps than they need to, and they're off balance from the get-go. So once I stand up, I'm going to start with my left foot. It doesn't matter which one you start with, just make sure you choose one. I'm going to step straight back. Straight back is important because if we start moving to the side on that first one, and if we have weight on the bar, it's going to slam into the side. So when you stand up, first foot goes straight back, you clear the J-cups, then that second foot goes to the side, plant your foot, and then that third one, match the other one. So I'm going to do that again. We stand up, straight back 1, side 2, match 3. And that is our squat position. And now we're in the most stable position to squat. From here, the distance of your feet, whether you're wider or more narrow, is going to depend on your specific structure, what feels better for you, preferences. I like to start slightly wider than shoulder width, with my feet pointed a little bit out to the side. We're going to start to squat. You want to bend your hip and your knees at the same time. Let your torso fall a little bit, but you want to keep your chest up. So it looks like this. Chest up, bend hips and knees at the same time. Then you want to go below parallel and stand up. What you don't want to do is over squeeze and put your lower back in front of your upper back. That's going to put a lot of strain on your back. It's not doing anything for you. So again, bend hips, knees, and torso down at the same time. Another thing that gets overlooked is the breathing technique when it comes to the squat. So we don't want to be inhaling and exhaling as we're squatting, because that moves our spine, and we don't want our spine to be fluid under weight. We want it to be as rigid and as stable as it possibly can. So the breathing technique that you're going to follow is called bracing. And what bracing is you're going to take a deep breath, and then you're going to try to poop, but hold your breath at the same time. Now, of course, hopefully this goes without saying, but don't poop. Just pretend like you're trying to. If you have to go, go before you do this. You're going to inhale, hold the breath, hold all the way until you drop, hold all the way up, and here, you're going to exhale and reset. So, always resetting at the top, never while you're in motion. Do that every single rep, and when you unrack and re-rack. So here, I'm going to re-rack, put it down. And what that looks like from the front. Ladies, make sure your hair is always out of the way of the bar. Don't put a ton of clothing on so that it's slipping. Just because you want the bar to be as close to your skin as possible so that it's the most stable. So I'm going to stand up, stabilize the bar, straight back 1, side 2, match 3. Then I'm going to squat. Now it's time to re-rack the bar. This is also another place where people make a big mistake. A big mistake is people start moving all the way side to side, and if you have weight on the bar, that weight is going to be hitting the sides and you're going to start to lose balance. And this is a big problem when you have a lot of weight on your back, especially as you get stronger. So what you want to do is, right, we finished our last rep. We're going to walk straight until we feel both sides and can confirm visually that both sides have hit the rear part of the J cup. Then we can drop and safely get out. A big problem I see is people start doing too fast. They think they have it, they miss it, and now we go down, right? So make sure that when you are re-racking, you're walking straight, hit both sides, and then drop it, and now you can rest safely. So as I'm sure you can tell by your own experience and just watching this video and maybe many others, the squat does have a lot of components that need to be taken into consideration and followed if you want it to be a good squat. A lot of people get injured with squatting because they don't learn these basic fundamental techniques from the very beginning, but if you take the time to learn them, you don't increase the weight until you do, it's going to make you a better lifter and safer in the long run. I've never been hurt squatting. I've squatted over 300 pounds at this point. It's simply because I follow exactly what I say in this video, and I've done that for years. So my technique is not perfect. There are things that I can improve as anybody, but it's definitely better than when I started, and I feel very confident in my squat form, and I'm not going to get hurt, and that I know what I'm doing. So practice it 2 to 3 times a week. Make sure that you're increasing the weight slowly. Make sure you're filming yourself from the side, from the front, from the back, making sure that your position is where it needs to be. Practice the walkout, the re-rack, the bracing, finding the perfect foot placement for you. All of these things are going to take a little bit of time. It's worth it to invest that time in the beginning so that eventually you can learn how to squat safely and again, not get hurt, not mess up your back, and be able to do it efficiently so that you can get to a point where you're lifting a ton of weight and it's really impressive, and it's just really cool to squat. It's a great exercise. I think everybody should do it if they can. We need to be doing it safely so that we don't get hurt. So that pretty much sums up the squat video. I hope you guys found this helpful. Please let me know if you have any other questions in the comments. I am more than happy to also do more exercises and more videos like this, so let me know if you have any suggestions or any requests of that kind. If you did enjoy this video, do like the video. It lets me know that you guys enjoy content like this. Share this with a friend. If you know their squat sucks and they need a little bit of help, no shame, we've all been there. Please feel free to share it with them. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I will see you in the next video. Until then, have a good one.